Hello everyone, this is Muhammad Aslam Al Hindi and you are learning SolidWorks 2018. So today we are going to discuss about the sketch patterns. First we will be discussing about the linear sketch pattern, and for that we are going to choose a rectangle and we are going to fillet its sides by 10 mm. And for example, we are placing a kind of curve inside this rectangle, and we are going to give it a dimension of 100 and 150. Or say 110. Yeah, it's like this. And I want to make a pattern out of it. I want to make 10 columns of this same set of sketch of entities in as 10 columns and 5 rows. So should I make them again and again, or is there anything which I can do to repeat them again and again? So here's the sketch pattern. The first one here is the linear sketch pattern, which make a pattern in the linear direction. So clicking for it, I will be choosing these patterns. I can select it all in one go and then click for the linear sketch pattern. As I clicked here, entities to pattern, you can see all these have been selected, so no need to select them one by one. And this is the x-axis, or now you have to define what should be the difference, what should be the distance between one point on the first one and the same point on the second one. I'm taking this distance as 200 mm. Yeah, what I mean here is that, for example, if I take this point, then the distance between this point and this point here, the same point on the next one, that is 200 mm. And how much repetitions I want in the x-axis. For example, I want 8 columns of these sketch entities. So I have pressed 8 number of instances, and then go for the y-axis. The number of instances on the y-axis has been kept 1 by default, so I have to input the original value, and I'm inputting it as 6. And what should be the distance between a point on the first one and the same point on the second one? I'm taking this as 120. Yeah, so this is the sketch pattern, the linear sketch pattern, which is going to follow once I click here, and I'm clicking here. Now you can see this is the magic of SolidWorks or any CAD program, that you don't need to make the same thing again and again. You can just pattern it. And now there are two values, this one is 6 and this one is 8. So if I click on them, I'm dragging it here, and if I click on this value and if I change this to say 6 and then click, let me make everything visible so you can see the effect and the magic. Clicking here, you can see it it has been removed from the 2 by some chance. It should also have been deleted. I'm deleting them. Let me retry with them. I'm taking them as 4. Yeah, it's basically working for the outer one, and perhaps it's not working with these curves. But anyways, you can change the number of instances in X axis or in Y axis. Same way you can make the change here. So this is the linear sketch pattern. Now let's do something more with it. Now let's delete this one as well. Again, this much is left. So this is the original sketch entity, and I want to mimic this sketch not in x-axis but at an angle with the x-axis. Now again I'm selecting this and then going for the linear sketch pattern and taking the value in x-axis as 200, clicking OK, making the instances as 6, and then I want to make them incline at an angle of say 30 degree with the x-axis. So you can see how it's happening. And then I'm making the number of instances in the y-axis as say 5, and the distance I'm keeping as say 120 mm. Yeah, now this is the way they can be stacked, and if I choose for this angle to change, for example if I make this angle as 120 degrees, you can see how it's happening, and I have to keep into account the interference between them. You can see the upper one is interfering with the lower one, so accordingly I have to increase the value. Now they are fine, and clicking OK, you can see how they are happening. It may be looking fantastic or weird to you, but this can also be done using SolidWorks. Now let's move for the next thing. This is the original one. Selecting it, going for the linear pattern, and making the distance as 200 mm, keeping the instances as 3 only to make the work simpler for you, and this one also 3, and the distance as 150 mm. Now this one is the instances to skip. For example, I don't want to add an instance. For example, I want this pattern to follow on the boundaries but not in the middle. So I have to just click on this pink dot and it will be off. Same way, if I want to off some other instance, I have to click on the pink dot, and you can see what's happening. So these instances will be skipped, and clicking OK, you can see 1, 2 and 3, they has been skipped by the linear sketch pattern. So this is again a magic in SolidWorks which you can do with your sketch pattern. Now the second one is the circular sketch pattern. For example, I'm having a path along which I want to make this sketch pattern appear, and I'm placing this sort of curve which I want to pattern along this circular path. So I will be choosing for circular sketch pattern, and before that I have already selected this one. I can select it later as well, but if there are more than one entities, you have to select them one by one here. So I'm choosing for the point 1. This is the point 1. It is basically aligning for the center, and let me show you what can happen if I don't align it with the center. If I place it somewhere like here, and if I move it from this point to here using the move entities command, like this. We will be discussing the different entities under the move command later on. This was just an introduction to the move entities. So I have selected this one, and then going for the circular sketch pattern, and you can see by default it is picking up the center, but I have to click here point 1 and delete it and select this circle. So as I clicked on this circle, you can see it is making a weird kind of geometry, and it is still working around this origin, and it has in fact selected this circle under the entities to pattern. So I have to basically select the center of this circle. Clicking here, you can see now the entity is following the path, and clicking OK. This one is here, and I selected for the 4 number of instances around this circle, and you can see the orientation of the entities would depend. It will be like it will be for example, if this face is here on the circle, then same way this face will be here on the circle. If you just rotate the circle and move this second one at the position of the first one, it will be just mimicking it. So these are the 4 number of instances, and if it were an entity made up of line, circle, arc, or out of these things, or this one, then we could have manipulated the number of instances, but it's not manipulable. If I try to make it 6, they won't be becoming 6. Let me do with another thing, deleting them. For example, if I make something like this, something weird to mimic, it's like this, making this a construction geometry, and then selecting the entity, and then going for the circular sketch pattern. It has selected it, and it has by default taken this origin as its center, deleting the point 1 and clicking for the center and clicking OK. So here you can see that it has been patterned 4 times, and accordingly you can see the face and the point which was touching the point of this line, which is touching the circle, the same point is touching here, and same way here. The distance of this point with this circle is same as the distance of this point with this circle. So here we can't see the we can change this circle, but they are done now. So we can't change it. We can change the circle, but we can't change this value of the positions of these circular sketch patterns. And then let's again do with it. I'm taking this point for making a circular sketch pattern around this value, taking this point and then clicking for the entities to pattern, and I'm taking, I can change it from 4 to 8, and you can see it appears here, and I can choose for the instances that I want to skip. I can click on the pink dot for those instances which I want to skip. Clicking OK, you can see it's how it's working. So this is all about the sketch pattern in SolidWorks, in a sketch in SolidWorks. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.